Jaika, or welcome to the University of Melbourne. My name is Zoe, and it is my great pleasure to be bringing you a special session just for family and friends of our new students. Because let's face it, we are all in this together, and we know that you too have been there for every late night study, every nerves around exam period, and even that amazing moment when they got into the University of Melbourne. So you did it, they did it, and tonight we're going to be showing you how we're going to be looking after your family member as they start at the University of Melbourne and have their journey throughout until they graduate. We're going to be giving you all the information on how we will support them, but also some really great tips about how you can also help them too. So we do have an incredible session for you tonight, but before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we join together tonight from all over the world. I join you from the lands of the Wurundjeri people, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and future. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Australian culture, what you just experienced was an acknowledgement of country. And it's something that's really important to us at the University of Melbourne and in Australia. It's our way of recognising our nation's first people and the rich culture and legacy and future they bring to our country. And so that's your first kind of experience of what your family member might be a part of at the University of Melbourne. They'll certainly be experiencing the acknowledgement of country. Now, I do have an incredible session for you tonight. We are bringing you some experts who work with students every single day to make sure they're set up for success and they're supported in their goals and their time at the university. We also have a parent just like you who was in the same position. So her daughter started at the university only last semester. So she knows only too well everything that you need to know. She's lived it, she's living it. So tonight is about sharing our tips and making sure that we have a wonderful start to the university. Now, the session is interactive. So in the chat box, you can post your questions because tonight we want to make sure that family and friends know everything they need to know. If we don't get to your question tonight, we will answer it afterwards. And some of your questions I will be putting live to our guests. So speaking of questions, I know the big one that is at top of mind for everyone, wherever you are in the world. When can my family member start on campus and come to Australia? Well, they started earlier tonight in their Welcome to Melbourne session, because we've always said that the University of Melbourne is a truly global university. Well, this year, during a global pandemic, we like to say that we have campuses in over 160 countries. That's because we will be turning your homes, bedrooms, studies, lounge rooms, kitchens into University of Melbourne campuses throughout the world. Because every time that your family member logs on, they will be transported to Melbourne. We'll be giving them that little slice of Australia and Melbourne. I have with me Roo the kangaroo, and their experience is everything from really engaging learning and teaching, where we've got some pretty clever things that we've worked out. And I have made sure to let students know to check out our online learning sessions tomorrow, where they'll learn what's it like, how does it work, and there's all sorts of other student life activities, band streamed in, club activities, Melbourne sport activities, all online, plus all of our support services are available on and off campus. So there you have it. They started at Melbourne tonight. We don't know anything further about when the borders will open, but I can assure you we're ready for when they are able to land and come to Australia. We can't wait to have them here. But as I said, in the meantime, we will be bringing that slice of Melbourne every single time that they log on. So my first guests, they work with students every single day to make sure that they're set up for success. It is my great pleasure to welcome from the student development team, Sabrina and Yvette. Hi, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Zoe. It's lovely to be here. Yvette and I will give you a brief overview of a few of the ways that the university will provide support for the students as they start their journey and throughout their study.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, I think that you're all in very good hands. I'm going to hand it over to Sabrina and Yvette, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about what you've been up to with our students. Over to you.
Okay, fantastic. So what we'll talk to you about tonight are 5 key supports that every student should take advantage of. So the 5 things that we'll be discussing is the My Uni Life app, the peer mentor, the first year program, support that's available for English language development, and the academic advisors. So Yvette is going to kick us off.
Sure, thanks, Sabrina. So the first support that your students should definitely take advantage of is the My.UniLife app or web portal. So immediately after your student accepted their course offer, they should be able to access important information through this My.UniLife app. It's a great tool for their first year, and it makes finding everything they need to settle into uni life really easy for them. It has a personalized student checklist to guide them through everything they'll need to do before semester starts, during semester, and all the way through to preparing for their exams. They'll also be able to use it to send questions or chat with their peer mentor.
Okay, so the peer mentor, your student will be matched with a peer mentor who's a later year student from their faculty. So they will meet their peer mentor and a small group of students from their course for the first time during orientation. And after that, they'll have regular structures meetings with the peer mentor and this group of first year students throughout the year. This is a great first connection, as their mentor's experience will help your student learn what to do and when, and how to access key resources, who to meet, etc. So that peer mentor is someone who they can ask any question at any time. Orientation will run from July 19th till the 23rd, so that's the week before classes start. And your student will attend the Melbourne commencement ceremony in which they will meet the academics, and they will be welcomed into the community by the dean of their faculty. There are also social programs being run online for students. This means that your student can develop a broad social network before classes start even.
Great. And there are also special free workshops running through the semester that introduce first year students to crucial information at pertinent times. This is the first year program. They are designed to support your student through all the key milestones of their first year of study with the University of Melbourne. They'll be able to easily find them and register to attend using the My.UniLife app. So for example, even before orientation week, there are going to be workshops called Intro to Uni. These sessions focus on making new social connections and learning about co-curricular opportunities and the important social support services, including the employability service. Then at the beginning of the semester, there'll be sessions on topics like academic listening and academic referencing expectations. Later on, there'll be workshops to support your student with strategies for their first assignment. And towards the end of semester, students will start learning about active exam revision strategies. So by being proactive and using these workshops, it will help them to become better students with better networks and great academic outcomes. So they can attend just one workshop or they can go to all of them.
So to do well in their studies, it's also important that your student continues to develop their proficiency in English language and, of course, their academic skills as well, if that was talking about that a little bit already. So one program that we would like to highlight is Melbourne Talks. This is a 5-week program that brings students together to build social connections while working on their English language development. Your student will become familiar with Australian culture and university life and develop their English through engaging peer-led activities. So please encourage your student to look out for this, as it's a very fun way to work on very important language skills. Now, besides Melbourne Talks, the university's academic skills team provides workshops, a few of them in the first year program. There's also a dedicated YouTube channel with videos and tip sheets, one-on-one sessions that students can book as well to assist with both English but also other academic skills like specific writing skills. So your student can even take an academic English subject if that fits within their study plan. So there's lots of support available there.
Okay, and when your student comes to their second semester, they'll be matched with an academic advisor. This is a senior academic member of staff from their faculty who will take an active interest in their progress, their academic successes and challenges, and assist them in navigating through their whole student journey. The academic advisors are an amazing source of information about things like faculty competitions, scholarships, work integrated learning programs. They also have extensive networks of university community contacts, as well as external professionals and industry representatives. So your students' interests and focus may change over their 3 years of study. So that makes the academic advisor's insights really important to help them access relevant opportunities.
Now, I realise that in the last few minutes, Yvette and I have mentioned lots of different things. And I think the important message to take from this is to really encourage a student to be proactive and seek support in any area. But don't feel that you or your student need to memorize all the titles of the many services that are available and that we've discussed. Melbourne has a centralized point for any question, and that is called Stop One. Now, Stop One can put your student in contact with any of the services that we've mentioned and many more, such as the University Health Service, counselling service, student equity, and course planning advice as well. So the key thing to remember is that if they have any questions at all, they can contact Stop One. If they are not sure, they can perhaps also ask their peer mentor, because they can give really great advice as well. So in this way, they will be sure to access everything that Melbourne has to support their journey with the university. That's it from us.
Thank you so much. It's really good to see just how supported our new students are going to be throughout their entire journey. Don't go too far away, Sabrina and Yvette. I will ask you to come back later, where I'll be putting some of our audience's questions to you both live. So thanks for joining us for now, and I'll see you really soon. So one of the things that I think is probably on a lot of people's mind, well, if it wasn't before, now that we're in a global pandemic, it's healthcare and health insurance. So there's lots of aspects as a family of a new student or friend thinking about health and safety and making that transition. Well, to talk to you about health insurance and making sure that once they get to Australia, your family member, your new students will feel well and healthy. Please welcome Clark from Bupa. Welcome, Clark. You're on mute, Clark. We can't hear you.
Right, sorry, tech issues as always. Hope they can hear and see me now.
I'm fairly certain our audience are very used to that in the last 18 months where we've been doing a lot online. I think that's a regular occurrence. I just wanted to, before I hand over to you, I wanted to point out that Clark is actually one of our alum. And so he's been here studying with us, starting over, just like everyone is right now. And so Clark, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk about healthcare and insurance while studying in Australia. Over to you.
Thank you, Zoe, and hello, everyone. So as Zoe introduced, I was an international student and I graduated from Melbourne University. And after graduation, I joined Bupa and I've been working at Bupa for the past 3 years. And I've been staying in Melbourne, in Australia for almost 10 years now. So I think I could be safe to say I've been through every corner of the international student journey, from someone who knew nothing about Australian health system, not the insurance benefits, to someone who had rich experience in this field and have helped thousands of the overseas students. And I found out when overseas students, new students coming to Australia, and they usually will be asking some of the burning questions will be things like, where do I find good doctors? And then what insurance will cover for me? And then how do I get refund if I pay for my medical services? Well, don't worry, I'll cover all these topics for you tonight. And then so before I get started, I think some of you may be wondering that Clark mentioned Bupa, but who is Bupa actually? And what does Bupa do? So let me share my slides to you, and they'll be easier to help you understand the topics tonight. Let me make it full screen. All right. Oh, so Bupa is actually one of the largest healthcare provider in Australia, and we're also the preferred healthcare provider to Melbourne University, as we help to look after our lovely students and staff here. And we're also a global company and has a strong international reputation, as we operate offices in more than 190 countries, including those many places that you are from. And what does this mean to you? Well, it means that you have through Bupa's membership, you have the access to a great network of good doctors, medical services, and hospitals. For example, so through Bupa's membership, our members will be able to access the handy website called Bupa Friend Doctors. I'll say it's more like a Google Maps. You can type in your postcode and you can find out doctors and hospitals nearby, and you can call them and make the appointments. And if you or your children will be living close around Melbourne University, and you can visit the on-campus clinics with their contact details on the bottom left-hand side here, and you can take a screenshot for use later on. And then what if you fell sick during late night or maybe during the weekend when most doctors are closed? So don't worry, you can call these after hours doctors. Just call them and tell them that you have Bupa membership, and bingo, they can drive to your home and bring medications to help you, right? Easy and convenient. And then so understanding like where to find good doctors now, let's understand more about your the Bupa's health cover. So what does the insurance cover? Generally speaking, it can be categorized into 4 major blocks. So number one, there'll be hospital expenses, will be things like maybe say surgery you had in the hospital. And another part will be medical expenses. Say there'll be something outside the hospital before you go to hospital. It will be things like you go to see GPs or specialists, or maybe when you take the blood test ultrasound, and we cover you 100% of the government standard, Medicare standard, and also cover you for the pharmacy items like the medications you got prescribed by your doctors. And then another important thing will be the emergency ambulance. We can cover you for those unexpected things when they happen. And of course, we'll touch the elephant in the room, so the COVID-19 and also COVID vaccines. I've been asked by many students whether these will be covered. Well, good news is that earlier this year, government already announced that they will cover the COVID-19 vaccines even for international students. So what we'll do is we'll work with the government and follow the guidance to support our members and to get the vaccines when it rolls out to to people. All right, so after you have seen a doctor, you may find out that in Australia, for most doctors, you can just swipe your insurance card like the Bupa card, and then they can bill Bupa and we pay for you. But there are always some occasions that the doctors may prefer the patients to pay first. And in that case, you can just pay and then collect the invoice from the doctors. And then what do you do to get the money back? You can go to online My Bupa account, right? That's your online account, or you can download the app My Bupa on your mobile phone, and then you can log in and just take photos of your invoices and tell us your bank details, and our claim team can process it and refund it back to your bank account. Easy and convenient. And I want to stress that you don't have to remember all of this, because we have our own campus team here. Say for my office, it's located within the student center in Melbourne University. And then so we operate from Monday to Friday. So usually students, when they finish their classes, they will come to see me. And then within a few minutes, we can have a conversation and then to help them resolve the issues. All right, and I want to highlight that so Bupa is more than just a healthcare provider. We are more like a healthcare partner to our students and staff here, as we also support many of the events and activities. So we support the orientation session for each semester to welcome our new students. So when your children will be coming to Australia later on, and we welcome them in the orientation sessions, and also support for the presentations both online and offline. And for those presentations, it will be like a longer session, and then focus on more detailed questions that usually students want to know, especially for new students when they come to Australia. And more so, we also have the on-campus activities, like what you see in the photos here. So it will be the free yoga session, or the dog therapy session, or even the free massage, as you can see from the left-hand side of this photo. So we'll be helping students to get the relief from their stress of the study or exams. And also, we also have the career opportunities for students, as we prefer to hire the graduate from Melbourne Uni. Say for myself, I graduated from Melbourne Uni, also a few others. And so we hire them from when they were part-time, and then when they graduate, when they want to stay with Bupa, and we'll offer them the full-time opportunities as well. And so there'll be the end of my presentation. If you want to contact Bupa going forward, you can call us, or maybe it could be easier for you. You can take a screenshot and share with us online, or you can send us an email. And we understand it's a special time right now, so wish you all the best for you and also your children. And we look forward to welcoming you when you come to Australia. And I'll stop my presentation right here. So,
Excellent.
and
Thanks.
then let me.
Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Clark. I think that's health and safety is a big thing on people's minds right now. We really appreciate it. I have to say, I'm particularly excited about the dog therapy. That looks like the best therapy in the world. So thank you for bringing that to us at Melbourne. What could be better?
I'll
Clark,
share with you next time when we have one.
Clark, can you stick around, and I'm going to ask you to join us later. So make sure to be posting your questions about healthcare for Clark in the chat, and I'll be welcoming him back soon. So my next guest was in exactly the same position as you, only at the start of the year. So less than 6 months ago. She was there when her daughter started the Bachelor of Arts during pandemic online. And I would like to welcome someone who's lived it, is living it, and supporting her daughter. Please welcome Shilpa. And you're coming to us from Mumbai. Welcome.
Thank you, Zoe, and thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
I think that our audience out there will be really interested to hear your tips, your experience with how you supported your daughter. And in particular, I just want to make a special mention that your daughter is actually one of our Melbourne University International Scholarship recipients. So congratulations, you must be very proud.
Thank you. Indeed, I am. Thank you very much. And yes, I am proud. Yeah.
Well, let's get started. You were here in this same webinar earlier in the year, and tell us, how is it going? How are you supporting your daughter as she started and made that shift to university? And she's doing it from the Melbourne campus at your home in Mumbai.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you. So I think it was, of course, a moment of great joy when she got to University of Melbourne, especially with the scholarship. And that meant a lot to us. And I think we were all looking forward to actually physically being there on campus, but I think the pandemic obviously played spoil sport. And but yes, we had to make do and do whatever we could and enjoy whatever we had. And at the onset of the semester, it took a while for us to transition to understand how it works, what are the timings, because given the huge time differential between India and Melbourne, we had to kind of get used to it. But I think the good part was that at the onset of the first semester, you had various batches for the tutorials, which you could choose either late evening or early morning, depending on what type of a person you are. Either you're an early morning person or you're a late evening person. And that kind of helped us to make the choices. So we did that. And it takes a while, to get used to it. But yes, I mean, if we have no choice at this current point of time. So yes, we did. And I think then she Serena, who's my daughter, transitioned quite seamlessly. And she's now got into the groove. I think she's now preparing to give her exams for the first semester. So I think she's kind of enjoying it. There has been a peer mentor who's been assigned to her. So she's reached out to them if there's any problem, in case of any problem solving or any question that needs to be addressed. Uh, we also have something which I thought was a very good thing, was at the beginning of every week, the recordings of each lectures are dropped on the Canvas platform, so which the students can then listen to it at their leisure, and then at the tutorials have any question and answers, which kind of in the breakout room they could discuss what they would like to do, and if there are any queries. So that's something very good.
Yeah.
I must, yes, that's absolutely phenomenal. And I must also be put in a high word of appreciation for all the professors who've been very, very helpful. If there is something which, she couldn't understand, or she to reach out to them, they were just a email away, and they've responded back very quickly. I think there was a time when she had a concussion and she couldn't attend lectures for about a week to 10 days, but the professors were very, very supportive, and they extended her assignment submission time. And yeah, all in all, yes, it has been a fabulous experience for her. And she's now waiting to relive this in person when she's there, whenever it opens.
We can't wait for her to be on campus with us at Melbourne. Now, one of the things that you did point out was about the lecturers offering that support. So one thing that I'd like to share with our audience is that our lecturers and tutors are extending their consultation hours because they're really well aware that students are logging in from different parts of the world, different time zones. And in fact, it's probably been one of the benefits for many students that were returning students. They've said, oh, actually, there was even more convenience to meet with my lecturer. The other thing that I just took out of your initial thoughts there, Shilpa, one thing we didn't touch on there, we have a question from Angela in the audience, and she would love your advice about what about any challenges around social isolation? So there's different ways of making friends when you're connecting online, but what sort of experiences did your daughter face in terms of that, and your tips about making sure to sort of avoid feelings of isolation?
So with my daughter, I think when we had the orientation week, and where all the students came in together, there was obviously a virtual introduction to all of the students who were the batch of 2021. And I think that's when everybody kind of started connecting independently over WhatsApp groups, and they started making groups and started discussing things. They formed some groups, some in India, some internationally. So they formed a mix of groups. And then, of course, the peer mentor also helped us a lot in terms of guiding us or navigating us to the right people. Uh, it took a while to get used to it, to get a kind of, especially if you're not a very WhatsApp person, it takes a while. You've got to get into the groove and get it done. But it's not impossible. I think you just have to be a little clued on, ensure that when you're there for the orientation, understand who all are there, who and all have the same subjects, and maybe you could then kind of just form a group. It's not going to be very difficult.
Fantastic. And the university does facilitate lots of ways to keep students connected and to make friends. So something we talked with the students that were starting earlier was about the fact that our clubs are doing activities online. That includes chess, dance club, internships are happening online, all sorts of things, even fitness classes. So there's lots of different ways that they will be able to connect. But I think maybe one of the good things that's come out of the online study is you get to keep her home with you a little bit longer. So I think there'd be some parents really, really liking that. So what do you think has been probably Sunayana's biggest challenges to date, and how did she overcome them, or how did you work with her to help her overcome them? Because I should point out, whether you start online or physically on campus, starting a new university, whether you're a grad or whether you're coming from high school, it does have a learning curve, and it does have some time that you need to, as you say, get into the groove. What would those things be, and tips for our audience today?
Well, I would say one of her biggest challenges was just getting to know the people. That was the first thing for her to kind of get a start point to, share her problems with or discuss the academic subjects, etc. That was one of her biggest challenges, which over a period of time, we overcame that. Uh, The second biggest challenge was, of course, to get studying in the virtual world, which I think everybody is facing it. Even people like us who are working virtually from home, are facing it. So I think it's not new. But I guess for students who have been so used to meeting people in campuses or interacting with people face to face, that was a single biggest challenge. But luckily now with with so many platforms like Zoom and Google Meets, etc., I think a lot of these kids have discussions or chats online and they discuss their problems. So I guess when they have a sounding board, half the problem is solved when you speak with them. So yeah, in
Really,
terms of
really good
yeah,
advice.
sorry. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of academics, there's been no challenge because the professors have been very helpful. You could can reach out to them. The peer mentors have been very helpful, and the students and the friends are now studying together over Zoom. So I think that's kind of helped it out.
Has there been anything? So you've been working online and things like that. Has anything about the first semester experience surprised you or pleased you, or you saw a benefit that could come from online learning?
Yeah, I think the benefit I see was because of the time difference. We thought that, oh, we'll have to wake up really early in the morning and start attending the lectures, which is unheard of timings. And Sunaina is not a very morning person, so that was the biggest stress factor for me. But once we realized that the recordings were there on the Canvas platform and she could listen to it at a convenience, that kind of made it very easy. And I think that has been the single biggest benefit I think has worked very well to her advantage.
Oh, brilliant. We're getting lots of thank yous coming through on chat to you, Shilpa, for your wonderful insights. As I said, you have been in the same position of our audience only less than 6 months ago. You're living it now. And before I invite back our other panelists, because we are starting online and I hope to see you coming over to help welcome your daughter, but what's she most looking forward to when she steps foot in Australia?
I think she's looking forward to the whole campus experience, uh, the whole academic experience, real time, uh, being part of all the various clubs and meeting people across diverse countries, diverse cultures, because she loves meeting people and she loves learning from people. So I think she drives a lot of her energy and strength from meeting people. So I think she's really looking forward to that. And of course, if things go well, she also then probably wants to intern at some point of time and use her time and take an internship. So she's looking forward to all this. And of course, develop a whole well-rounded, holistic experience and personality, and just gain in knowledge and academics.
Wonderful. I think one of those interesting things will be when you've met and made friends online, actually getting to see each other in real life. People are quite shocked by how short I am in real life. So it'll be interesting to see. I would
That makes
love.
two of us.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to meet you in person too, Shilpa. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stay here. I would like to welcome back Yvette, Sabrina, and Clark so I can put some of your questions to them live. And Clark, we've got back too. Excellent. So I want to start first with a question from Alice for you, Clark. So, sorry, Alicia. Do we need to pay any additional fees for Bupa, or is it included in the Melbourne University offering? So first question to you, Clark.
For sure. Yeah, that's a good question. So usually the tuition fee that you pay, I remember when I was a student, so that's just mainly for tuition fee. But when you accept the COE, the offer from uni, there should be another field mentioning the overseas student house covers fee. So that kind of separated. Hope that answers the question.
Brilliant. While I've got you there, Clark, another one coming from Shristi. Hi, is this the same overseas healthcare cover that we paid for while accepting at Melbourne? Can you just confirm that, please, Clark?
Yeah, definitely. So they're the same cover. They are just called the OSHC, Overseas Student House cover. So I found out usually in some students they do ask like it's OSHC and company, but actually it's a product. It's something like all these questions that the new student they don't know. And then in our real like the Bupa's presentation will cover all those details. So that when your children come here and then they can get prepared for all those questions, all those challenges that they may face.
So a lot of parents have been asking, well, we can't travel to Australia just yet. Can we get a refund of the fee up until the point that they start? So while they're not in Australia, how does that work?
We have the process updated along with the new borders policy when the borders open. So if so maybe later on when your children are coming to Australia, and then we can help to apply for the refund for those unused overseas student house cover back to your account. And then so definitely you can apply for refund and we'll help you along the way.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. I'm going to take you out of the hot seat for now, Clark, but really good to have you here. And I'm going to head back to Shilpa. Because many of our students that will be starting really, really soon will be starting online, can you give some tips about how you can create a good study environment, a good study space, and things to keep in mind for that?
Yes, I think we'll have. I think one needs to take cognizance of the fact that it's going to be a transition period for them when they start learning online, and it is a new country, a new way of learning. I think as parents, we just need to support them and ensure that we provide the right environment, give them the right space. I don't disturb them when the lectures are on to whatever extent possible, because sometimes what happens is you tend to forget when you're working from home or you're studying that there are so many other things happening in the background. But yes, I think we can just support them in when their lectures are on, or probably not question them too much as to what's happening. They are big people, they are grown up kids now, and I think they will eventually find their feet. They will figure out how to go about it. I think those are all small things, and just be there for them morally. I mean, for me, I think my duty starts to wake her up in the mornings when she used to wake up in the mornings to kind of attend a lecture or a tutorial, because I know that she can't wake up on her own. So I will wake her up. I think these are the small, small things we just need to do and ensure that they're happy doing what they're doing.
That's really great advice. We all need a bit of help waking up in the mornings, I think. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And now looking forward to when students are able to travel to Australia, Sabrina and Yvette, how safe is Australia and Melbourne in particular?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that one. Melbourne is a really safe city. It has regular and safe public transport as well. But just like any big city, we really need to be aware of the environment that we're in at different times of day. So when you're new to a city, it's important to talk to the locals and understand the nature of different areas. Both Yvette and I are not originally from Melbourne, so we both choose to specifically move here because there's so many activities, festivals, concerts, and not to mention the amazing food from all over the globe. And that's what makes Melbourne such an enjoyable place and such a vibrant city as well, I think.
Thanks so much for that, Sabrina. Yvette, I'm going to put the focus on you right now. And my question to you is, so far this year during first semester, what were the things that students studying remotely or online needed support or help with most? Because that's something that their family and friends can sort of look out for and make sure they're sort of prepared to, I guess, be that other hand and we're all in it together. So what kinds of things, Yvette?
I think some of the things that students studying online needed help with most was understanding just how much was available to them. So a lot of students didn't realise that there were online club activities happening, that they could actually get involved in clubs they were interested in right away. They didn't need to wait until they arrived in Australia. a lot of students didn't realise the different kinds of support the university offers for them. And there's so many different kinds of support, but they didn't realise that it would be available to them as well while they were not in Australia. So I think that was probably the biggest thing, is just students completely understanding that everything that the university has to offer is available to them regardless of where they are in the world. So I think that's been the biggest theme. I don't know, Sabrina, is there anything else that you would add to that?
No, I don't think so. I think you covered that that really nicely. And whenever we speak to students who are abroad at the moment, and we do that a lot for a job, we do sometimes encounter students saying, "Oh, I'll get more involved with uni when I arrive here." And we really, really want to encourage them to start doing all those things now. There's fantastic workshops around employability and skills that they would need to enter the job market that they can do right now. You don't have to wait until you're in Melbourne. So that's, I think, our biggest advice to the international students. Make the most of the whole Melbourne experience. So it's not just doing your classes, it's really getting involved. And you don't have to be on campus to do that.
Yeah, I think the other thing I'd add is, if you're not sure if the university has it, think about what the services a large city would have. The university has kind of the equivalent to so many of those services. So if you're not sure, just ask one of your lovely peer mentors or Stop One staff. They'll help connect you to whatever it is you need.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sabrina and Yvette. Really excellent advice there. And I think there are so many ways. I think you've just proven that we're bringing our campus to everyone's living rooms, kitchens, bedrooms throughout the world in every single way. So we don't have much time left. So I'm going to put a question to each of you. And I would like you to think of our audience out there, and what is your final number one tip? So number one, we've heard a lot tonight on the ways that they can support our new students get started at Melbourne. And Clark, as an alumni, cast your mind back, and I believe your sister is studying with us from China. What's your number one tip?
Yeah, you're right. So my sister, she's studying overseas right now, doing the online courses. So to your children, they are not the only person get affected. And then so for myself as a alumni, also my sister, so we have been through the same journey. My advice would be maybe think positive, always think positive, and find out the new opportunities from all those things going on right now, because in those uncertainties, you can find out those the positive things, and in that way you can take out the most from the experience, and hence make it to be the great asset for your future endeavors, right? So all the best to you.
Oh, that's lovely words from you, Clark. Yvette, your one tip.
My number one tip would be get involved right away. Find a club, a student club, student society, or a grad group that is an area you're interested in, and just start getting involved right away, because it's going to help you with your study. It's going to help you with your social connection by getting to meet those people with common interests to you. And also, I noticed someone asked about English language. It's really going to help you to have those conversations. It's going to help you develop your English language skills as well.
Excellent words. Sabrina.
I would say ask questions, and that goes for in class, out of class. We really value that quality in students. So if something is not clear, ask a question in class, so you can really encourage your children to do that and to live that. And I was really glad to hear Shilpa say that her daughter is in online study groups as well. That's what we talk about a lot with students, to form their own study groups and learn from each other. And that's a great way to connect as well. So ask questions, reach out to others, form a study group. I think those are really, really great things for students to do, and you can help them by encouraging them to do that.
Brilliant. I want our last tip to come from Shilpa, who's still doing it. And what are your words of wisdom for all of the families and friends out there throughout the world? We've just got you on mute, Shilpa.
Yes. These are very trying times. We are all going through some level of anxiety or the other. And I also feel our young children are also going through a lot of anxiety because the way they envisage their lives to be, it's not panning out how they envisaged it to be. But all I would say is live in the moment, learn from the experiences, uh, enjoy the challenges that come along with it, and reach out to all your support community, reach out to your network, ask questions, don't hesitate to speak your mind and ask them the question as to what's bothering you, what's ailing you, because there are enough people out there in the University of Melbourne who will help you, who will guide you and try to put you on track in case you feel you're getting derailed or you're getting distracted or you're losing focus. There are enough people. And there's as Zoe has also said, that join as many clubs as you can, join the activities you like, and that's your biggest forum for making friends, and just reach out to them and enjoy this virtual world while it lasts.
And I think too, students are gaining really valuable skills because we've seen a lot of us are all out working online and have had to adapt the way that we work. So they are actually building some skills and agility for, I guess, future and current workplaces. So I would like to say a very big thank you to our incredible panelists tonight who are showing you a little bit more about how we are supporting your new student come into the University of Melbourne, and even our insider tips so that you can help support them as well. So a big thank you to Shilpa, Sabrina, Yvette, and Clark. We really appreciated your insights. So I'm going to make a big ask of all of our family and friends tuning in right now. My next tip, the next step for them, is to tune in tomorrow when we will be putting a close focus on academic course planning and setting them up for success to get that kind of head start as they start their classes. So make sure to give that a bit of a push because it's really going to help them get set up for success at the university. And so my name is Zoe, and it has been my pleasure to welcome you to the University of Melbourne community. You're part of it. And we look forward, as I said, bringing a piece of Melbourne to you every time your starting student in your family or your friend gets started. So thank you.